y'all, it's Belle. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another vlog. There's a lot of cooking. I make homemade sloppy joes in the Instapot. I make my pulled pork and hush puppies. I make little coleslaw for my sandwiches to go on it. My husband doesn't like coleslaw. My husband makes his homemade chicken pot pie, which is so good, and we ate on that for so many days. I love it so much. And I don't really talk a lot, so I do include clips from my last video that I had cut out about the Idaho case just to have some chatting. And the video was awful short, so hope you enjoy. Okay, it turns out that this is the perfect vlog to add in some of the thoughts I cut out of the last one that I talked about the Idaho case. So I'm going to include here some of my thoughts that I had cut out of the last video, because this video was so short and I don't think I talked once in any clip. So this will be some talk. Probable cause affidavit was 16 pages alone, and that's not even all of what they have, especially since that was to get them the search warrant for his car, his apartment, his parents' house, and for his arrest. So think of all the evidence they got from his car and apartment. He didn't even look at her at the second trial. Like the first trial, it was like a tight smile. You could tell he was just mad. Blonde woman. He thinks he's smarter than everybody, especially women. I think something happened in his past with women, and I think his target was Kaylee, maybe Kaylee and Maddie, but I think Kaylee, blonde. A lot of the stuff with the crime scene, people were like, how could someone so smart who studied it be so stupid? Like the white car, he took his car to the crime scene, used it to stalk them, had his phone when he was stalking, the pings, the knife sheath, just so many things. But it's either, well, it is, he's a narcissist, and even making dumb mistakes, he's still gonna think he's smarter than everybody and that they still won't catch him. Or he wanted to be caught because, one, he wanted to drag it out, the fame, and he wants books and case studies to be written about him, so either that or that, and he wants to be caught so he can prove he's smart enough, leaving all of that damage and looking so stupid, he could still get exonerated, and that still proves, even though it looked like he was stupid, he's smarter. So it could be one or a combination of all of that. And him coming back to the crime scene about 5 hours later, about 9:15 or 9 something. Crime was at 4 a.m. 911 didn't get called until 11:58. It could have been he was wondering why this evil circus he just created hadn't started yet. Like, why is nothing happening? Or he went back to get the sheath because he realized he left it behind. I think he left it behind. Maybe somebody fought back and he didn't mean to leave it. Unless he did leave it on purpose. It's just so much you don't know. Because there's so many ways that could go with this type of suspect. It just depends on what his true motive is. Not just the motive of who he was stalking and who he committed the crime against, but the bigger picture of, like, was this his own case study? Like the survey he had online, if you read those questions that he wanted people to answer, it's truly sick. And the university approved it, but I don't believe in coincidences. Just running his own case study. And they're saying he was in one of those Facebook groups and he had a name, and he asked all sorts of questions and seemed to know things at the time before a suspect had been arrested that only the killer would know. And I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, that's still like you're doing your own case study on it. You're still running your experiment, seeing what the public thinks, what is their opinion, and putting it all in. And to do that, he has to have notes somewhere, unless he has the memory of an elephant. It seems like that house was like open door all the time, like parties. I don't think he would have been in the same crowd as these kids. Like, he's already 8 years older, 7 and 8 years older, and socially awkward. And apparently his come-ons to women were very invasive and rude, and then he'd act surprised when they would get upset or he'd be asked to leave somewhere. Like what? Like, I didn't. So he doesn't have the basic understanding of emotions and social interactions, which again fits with the profile of someone like this. And as far as what I went to school for, that can be helped in that part of the case, building this profile of it fitting with others, like others before him. Socially awkward. And he's even put a thing back in 2011 he had online, like, where he wrote about not being able to feel emotions. Feels like his life's a video game. He's desensitized. Depression. Hugs his parents, feels nothing. Just doesn't feel anything. He has something called SNOS, something where out of one side of his peripheral vision he can't really see. It's like dots, which might be another reason he didn't see Dylan. It was dark. She had that bright sign beside her bedroom door that said good vibes. So with that on, we don't know how far she came out of the doorway. She could have just been peeking anyway. And then him not being able to see right out of the side of that eye, he wouldn't have seen her. So there's all that. And everything he put on that in 2011 fits perfectly with the early lives of certain people before him that did crimes like this. Witnesses, like it was even in a report at a bar in Pennsylvania where the waitstaff complained so much that they even have a report about him. And he acted so surprised when the manager said, if you don't stop, saying these things and calling women this when they rebuff you, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. And he left and didn't come back. Like, he was like confused and surprised. That's not normal social interaction. When you are surprised that people are upset at you, calling them names after they didn't want nothing to do with you, after you like asked questions like, do you live alone, or I forget what it was, your brain function is different than everybody else's, meaning you don't have the same, you're socially awkward, you don't know the same social cues, you don't know what's right and wrong to say, you don't understand why people would be offended by darker things that seem not dark to you. Like, if a man asks me if I live alone and it's my first time meeting him, I'm getting away from him. That confuses him. He doesn't feel emotion, empathy like other people. Maybe he's trying to feel something when he does these crimes. It's just have to get to know his story more. I really think he had a trauma in his either childhood or the teenage year, maybe before he lost all that weight, because they said when he came back after that summer and he lost all that weight, that he was different. So I'd be interested to know what happened during that summer, because I don't think just regular bullying alone, depending on how severe he was bullied, like, I mean severe, for it to be, because everybody gets bullied. So it just have to be very, I don't know. It also hasn't been said why. I think he moved to Idaho in August, or Washington, in August of 2022 after being in Pennsylvania all his life and starting getting his degrees there. What about Washington University made you want to go there for the criminal degree? never, like, I know there's a Washington University just because every state has one, but that's a question I'm eager to hear if they address that. Like, there might be an answer in that too. As soon as he moved there, almost, because August 21st was when he was first pinged at their house, and that was also when he got the traffic violation right near their house and pulled over. So he can't say it wasn't him, because at the traffic violation, you show your ID, it gets put in, he got a ticket, the car, everything is listed. So, and I hope in Pennsylvania, where he was from, spreading out in every direction, like 2 hours away even, any unsolved crimes, I hope they're looking at it, just because how he is with women. That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you would like to subscribe, I would love that if you'd like to, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.